if you want to watch more movies like Longlegs, we have some good news for you because we have put our horror-fueled brains together and compiled a list of 5 horror movies that we really like that we think capture the spirit of Longlegs in one form or another.
That's right. A little dash of this, a little sprinkling of that.
Yeah, a little bit, a little detective here, a little Satan over there.
That's right.
No biggie. Now, this movie has been compared a lot to both Seven and The Silence of the Lambs, which of course are classics, wonderfully done films, but everybody's seen those. And if you haven't, what are you doing?
Get out there.
Get out there.
Go do it.
Go watch it. Give Anthony Hopkins some love. Check them out. They're great. And I can definitely see those comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to give you some stuff that's a little more unique. We did some digging.
We did.
Our first pick is The First Power, starring Lou Diamond Phillips as a detective who's on the hunt for this satanic serial killer who's going around killing innocent people in the name of Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. And he gets a call from a psychic who kind of leads him along the way of how he can apprehend this killer and kind of what this killer is up to and stuff. But they have this deal where if he goes and captures this dude, the psychic does not want the killer to be executed.
Yeah, she has her reasons, but doesn't let the detective know what they are.
And that was her first mistake because, of course, the detective, who has an ego that's through the roof, pushes for the death penalty, which releases this guy's spirit into the free world, which is the first power. Resurrection. And then the killings, of course, spring right back up, and then the detective's hot on the trail, and that's when we find out, that's when it's unveiled to him that this guy did possess supernatural powers, and he puts them to use when he is hunting the detective. So there are some crazy scenes in this movie, some very scary ones. It has a mask in it that I still find very creepy to this day. But also it has some cheesy effects that you're going to have to...
Well, it's a little bit of an older film.
It is an older film, clearly on a smaller budget. So, whenever it clearly cuts to a stunt man or you see a bungee cord that happens to still be attached to said stunt man after he, comes off of a roof, you just have to suspend a little bit of... a
little bit of disbelief there.
But
if you really enjoy the combination of good detective work with the occult, with Satanism, this movie's got it all.
And a psychic.
And
you
a
get the whole
psychic.
psychic thing.
That's right. Because she does team up with the detective to find the pentagram killer.
Which ties right back into Longlegs because Micah Monroe was psychically connected to Longlegs himself.
That's right.
Next up,
Lord of Illusions. Now, this is a film that was written and directed by Clive Barker, master of horror, famous for Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah.
So if that tells you anything, this takes the detective work kind of in a more noir turn, right? This is a private investigator, and he, even though it takes place in the 90s, it's got a very, classic film noir vibe. But he's hunting down the leader of a cult who claims to have some powers bestowed upon him by Satan. So there's a lot of magic in the film. There's a dash of romance. There's a great detective played by Scott Bakula. If you're a fan of Clive Barker at all, you'll know what I'm talking about. It oozes Clive Barker. I think the fact that he was able to both write it and direct it, there's some sadism there. It's very sensual, not in a sexy way, but sensual in that it's very
ethereal.
And there's a lot of body horror. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
It's different. It's definitely a different kind of watch.
It absolutely is.
Be prepared. This isn't one of those movies that you can just sit on the couch and turn on in the background while you halfway play on your phone. Man.
No, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of depth to the story. There are a lot of side characters with a lot of moving parts, so there's a lot going on. And this cult leader, his cultists like really worship him, and they are willing to do things for him that are a little over the top. Yeah. So, yeah, it has a very strange, very dark. It's much darker than the first Power. So if that's something that you liked about Longlegs, that it really pushed the envelope with how dark it got, Lord of Illusions might be up your alley.
Next up is James Wan's Dead Silence, and this one follows a young man who receives a package at his house or his apartment one day, and anyway, it's a doll. He runs out for some errands, comes back, and his fiance has been killed. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on to uncover the mystery of exactly what happened to that day and how this doll is connected to everything, which leads him down a very dark supernatural road trying to uncover this mystery. We have Donnie Wahlberg playing a detective.
The twist at the end is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Which James Wan is, of course, famous for.
Famous. And this is one of his best, I have to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a great twist.
This movie, I mean, while, you know, it follows dolls, and we all kind of have an idea of what movies like that are going to look like, this is not one of those. This is very stylized. This is very dark. This is very moody. This is very atmospheric, and I'm not going to give anything else away.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where, just following with the atmospheric, to the point where it's almost got a little bit of a gothic vibe to it, which, you know, I mean, come on, Halloween's coming up. Like, who doesn't want some good gothic in their horror? Mm-hmm. And, yeah.
But yeah, murder mystery. You have the detectives. You have the creepy dolls. A lot of Longlegs sprinklings in there, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and for a James Wan film, I think it's very underseen.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
This is absolutely an underseen James Wan film. So if you have not seen it yet, and you want those Longleg vibes, check it out. And not only if you can't get enough Longlegs, if you want some Micah Monroe in there too, you really liked her vibe in the film, check out It Follows. This is when I was first introduced to Micah Monroe. I don't know if it was her first movie or not, but
it was your first Micah Monroe film.
My first Micah Monroe film. Now, It Follows is a movie about a young girl who, you know, gets a little bit of carnal knowledge going her way there. And turns out, during that act, she contracted a curse from something that is going to follow her relentlessly. And when this thing comes in the form of someone you know, maybe it comes in the form of a stranger, who knows, it's a very dynamic presence. But once this thing catches up to its victim, that's exactly what you are, a victim. You're done. There's no escape from this thing. It is always coming after you one way or the other. Very scary movie. It kind of reminds you of something like the Ring.
Okay.
You know how you have the curse and you have 7 days and that's it. But this thing, you can run for as long as you can run. But if it catches you, that's it.
That's right.
But this has a performance by Micah Monroe that is very similar, I think, to her character in Longlegs. She's very quiet, very reserved, almost shy. Other than that, not much associated with Longlegs other than Micah Monroe. So if you're a fan of her, check it out.
Yeah, you really love that film, don't you?
I love that movie. I think it has a great soundtrack.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
Beautiful, very
it's got
stylized.
A really interesting vibe, the whole film.
It does. It has that feeling of dread.
Yeah.
Once again, the whole film has great cinematography, great soundtrack, great lighting, great colors. It is, and the friendship dynamic is wonderful, I think.
Yeah. I think it's got a feeling of, you know, if you like slasher films where the slasher, no matter how fast you run, they are walking faster and will catch up with you just walking. And that horrible feeling that there's no escaping them, even though there's just this steady walk. The whole film feels like that moment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie based around the slasher walk. It really is.
It really is. Like, it's that feeling. It's like he's moving so slow.
Yeah.
But he's going to catch up with you and kill you. And then, last but not least, if you can't get enough Nick, if you haven't seen Mandy, I think if you loved his performance in Longlegs, that very intense, very over the top, very dark, gritty performance, Mandy will be right up your alley. It is very, not only is it very dark and very gritty, but it is extremely stylized. You have this couple who are madly in love and living a just wonderful life in the forest together, and their entire world is shattered when she is murdered by a cult.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage goes on a vengeful rampage. And that sounds like it should be very straightforward. We've all seen the vengeance films, but Mandy is not. I mean, no. It takes you on this surreal adventure into, I don't know, almost a Lovecraftian kind of,
mm-hmm.
If like Lovecraft met Clive Barker, that's what you get from Mandy,
mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
Like
it reminds me, you know, because like you said, it's hyper stylized. So you have a lot of cool editing,
mm-hmm.
you have a lot of great lighting, you have a lot of great cinematography. I feel like it almost looks like an Argento film.
Oh, I like, yes. Yeah.
Maybe
I can
not
see that.
Maybe not like the style of Argento, because this is kind of like hyper paced in certain
mm-hmm.
areas and
mm-hmm.
stuff like that, but the lighting for sure, the look. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, revenge is never a straight line. It always gets messy.
Oh, and this is probably the messiest revenge film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, but Nicolas Cage's performance is intense. It's incredible. Yeah. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, I know. Since the night we watched Longlegs in theaters,
mm-hmm.
you came away that night just talking about Mandy and how
That's
you
true.
wanted to watch that movie again and how unhinged Nicolas Cage can be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to remember, I have loved Nicolas Cage since Raising Arizona when I was a child, followed very quickly by Moonstruck. And if you haven't seen either of those are two of his finest performances. Those are reaching back.
And that's saying something, man.
Get you some Cage.
Because this dude can lay it down.
Oh, yeah.
You know
and
what I'm
has
saying?
been. And that's my point. He has been since his early career. And some of those early films are, I think, to this day, some of his best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of why I appreciate something like a Longlegs, is because with Nicolas Cage, we've got a lot of the crazy, energetic Nick. I mean, for goodness sakes, we just watched him play Dracula. You know, we get him in Mandy, we got him in Willy's Wonderland, and then, you know, we have Nick from like Gone in 60 Seconds.
Love that movie.
Face Off, which is just amazing.
Well, Face Off is great because you almost get 2 for 1, because you get Nick Cage playing a bad guy, and then you get Nick Cage playing a good guy, and he does both equally well.
But it's nice to watch in Longlegs. I will say this about his performance. It is nice to watch Nick Cage not look like he drank 6 energy drinks before coming on to set and, you know, going crazy.
Yeah.
It was nice to watch him really get into that character and make it his own.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's in one of the interviews we watched with him about his character for Longlegs, he spoke about the fact that because there were so much makeup, prosthetics on his face, that he looked so unlike himself, that it was very freeing. You can tell in the performance.
Absolutely. So if you can't get enough Nicky, watch Mandy.
Absolutely.
And once again, going through our list here, we have covered 7, The Silence of the Lambs, The First Power, Lord of Illusions, Dead Silence, It Follows, and Mandy. So what are you doing still hanging out here with us? Go watch all these lovely movies that we have just gifted you. Come on, put them on your 31 days of Halloween. Do whatever you got to do, but get these in there, and I think you'll see what we're talking about. And if not, you can come back here and yell at us or thank us,
right?
Whichever you feel like.
If you check out any of these movies because you haven't seen them yet, let us know in the comments down below. Or if you have any other recommendations that you don't think anybody's thinking about, let us know.
Let us know. And give us that validation. I need all the validation. Let us know. Let us know that we were right.
Hey, let us know that we're wrong. We're okay.
Or let us know we're wrong. Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. All right, my friends, until next time, look horror,
Listen horror.
talk horror. Mwah!